Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Tuesday, August 13, 2024, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We'll be having a time for change call tomorrow night, after 9:15 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to be talking about some in-depth comprehension on levels with the planet, with the civilization, and where we're at, where we're going, and the purpose of it, the reason for it, the reason for all of this going on. It'll give those who listen to those calls a much better perspective and understanding, comprehension. And I believe it'll assist many people in balancing with all of this craziness. And you know I say this a lot because it's got to be said a lot because some people it takes longer to assimilate, comprehend, and be motivated to do so. We're, in a way, we're like machines that, and this is how quick it is. Any of us. None of us are outside of this. And we do know that there are those of us, gods and bodies, pure consciousness, that aren't there yet. It's not a negative. We were once there. And many of us were there and recently have woken up meaning saying, wait a minute, stop the cameras, something, comes in and a little light goes on. You go, no, I'm not accepting this anymore. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel good. Something's amiss here. And so at one time we were all in this civilization in that rat race, shuffling along, looking forward, going somewhere, but no one, you ask anybody if you could get their attention, they don't know where they're going. I'm just following everybody. We're going there. We're going to get there. And so what happens is that some of us will then begin to go, wait a minute. And then you might slow down, stop. Someone behind you on the rat race bumps into you and says, what are you doing? Keep going. And so you go, okay, I've got an exit. I'm going to go to the right here and get out of this stream because you wake up and your perspective changes and how you view things changes. And it's kind of subtle, but sometimes it's like, boom. And you determine, I'm not going to be in this anymore. Not that you're angry with it or disturbed by it, but you go, I've had enough experience here. I pretty much know the difference between hot and cold. I pretty much know good and bad, at least on this planet. And I know positive, negative. And so I've learned a lot. Because you got to remember, we've been doing this a long time. All of us have. Incarnating, reincarnating, and reincarnating, so on and so on, thousands of lifetimes. So it's not like we're rookies from the perspective, in a lot of ways, of the material physical world. We're not. None of us are. But then you wake up and you say, hey, I know how this is. I've experienced it many times. And then remember, this is heart-minded. It's not ego. There's no proving anything. So you go, now I want to embrace the God that I am in the body, and not specifically in that direction as far as knowing, but you have an inclination, and we're all curious. Some people on the planet call it nosy, but it's actually curiosity. We're curious like kids. We're all kids in a way, and that's not a negative. But society has taught us that no, you're a child, and the body grows, and then you got to get serious about life. You got to do this, and this if you want to continue to survive in the rat race. And we're all programmed that way. Our parents were. And it's not their fault either, because that's how they were taught throughout the ages. So then, things, as you know, have shifted. The vibrational frequencies are much higher on this planet. Some of us, we are not as accepting because of our program. Others are completely ready for it. It's like, go, baby, go. And that's okay, too, because there's always a variance. Then we begin to, on our own, as we go more into the now, like in these meditations, it's not long, we go into the now. We relax into our bodies, we get in a comfortable position, and we make sure there's no outside interference. And if there is, put earplugs in and eye mask on. And then you get in a comfortable position and you lean into the body. The shoulders drop, the tension in the neck and the back and everything start to dissipate. And you're in a comfortable, relaxed position. And you keep easing into the body. And then you begin to focus on the breath rising and falling. That's meditation. And so now you're in the now. And you've chosen to, no one's told you to do it, or it's a directive, or you must do it. You decided to do it. And if you've never meditated before, if you've meditated for years, but you decide to do this because you're curious, what is inside me? What looks back at me in the mirror through those little black holes? What there's more to me than I realize. And so you get that curiosity, that childlike curiosity, so you decide to start going within. And you drop the fear in the now. So you don't have fear of finding things that you have suppressed with yourself for years. You're actually excited about embracing those and really looking at them. And then they'll fade out. See, when we ignore things, they get bigger. They build and build and build and build. But this way, you're facing them and you're embracing them because you want to. So in the now, there's no fear. There's no anticipation. There's no rush. There's no hurry. It's never a race. And so you slowly but surely begin to embrace the pure consciousness that's within that body. And this opens up spiritual evolution. And I think there's a lot of people on the planet that believe that we are in a material physical evolution, right? But it's spiritual. And so what is a spiritual evolution? Spiritual evolution means is that we begin to finally discover exactly who and what we are. We drop all of our masks. Right? Society programs us to wear masks. What is wearing masks? You're not that mask. But it's presented to society for you to be more accepted. And that's because of the ego mind, see? Insecure, wanting to be accepted, wanting to be loved, right? Wanting to be, some of us, admired. So all those things are physical material through the ego mind. We begin to discover that. And all along, we're being gentle, kind, generous, and humble with ourselves. So we're not coming down on ourselves, ridiculing ourselves, kicking ourselves because we didn't do this or that. We're embracing it all. So we're no longer fighting it. Most of the civilization on this planet fights life. They fight it. Are they doing it on purpose? No, they're not doing it on purpose. It's just their programming and their ignorance to exactly who and what they are. So then they begin to unravel things and start discovering things. When I'm in the now, I don't have this traffic, right? This super highway of noise and stuff fluctuating in the background. All of these thoughts, 60,000 a day, replaying over and over again. Ego mind thoughts. Where do all the thoughts go on this planet throughout the millenniums? They don't go anywhere. They're here. It's energy. It's frequency. So we'll run into other people's thoughts that have been gone long ago. And some of us will embrace those thoughts as our own and live them. We create them and live them. Now, that we are not aware of that. We believe we're tricked by the ego mind of believing that that's my thought. It's connected to me. It's got my name in it. You know, it's connected to something I was thinking about maybe in your past. And then these other thoughts come in. And then most people just embrace those thoughts, give it energy, they form it, and they bring it into their reality. And then they experience it. This is why so many people will say, you know, this doesn't feel right. There's something about this. And it was originally someone else's thought. And to some people, that sounds really ridiculous and crazy. But that is the truth. It's wild. So we are wild freedom as spirits, as gods. We're totally free. We can go anywhere in this universe and beyond in a matter of seconds. But see, when you contain a civilization for just endless amounts of time, and you've conditioned them to believe certain ways, full spectrum, right? Then how else? That's how they're going to be until that begins to melt down. Now, the Schumann resonance on this planet, which they don't talk about a lot, the real Schumann, not the fake ones, it's spiking unprecedented in the history of Schumann resonance. And so there are people that would normally be in situations that they would probably step in to the hole. And now they're saying, I'm going to watch where I walk and not step in that hole. And slowly but surely, people are not stepping in holes. And I mean by that analogy is that in the muck, in the low vibrational frequencies, which we've all been many times, and we're determining, I've been there. It's not a negative. I've learned a lot, I've experienced a lot, and I continue to do so as I create those experiences. But now, for me, it's time to go over here. And as we all know, we haven't explored our spirituality. And I'm not talking about religion. It has nothing to do with religion. But discovering who and what we are. The true God is you. Is all of us. Okay? It's not how we've been taught. But it does make sense if you want to control a civilization for eons. Right? You lay the groundwork, you put everything in place, and generation after generation after generation, the civilization becomes slave. But really doesn't know that. So you have an artificial freedom base that is implemented where people gravitate and say, well, we're a free people. When in actuality, you're not. It's pretty wild. That's what's so fascinating. And with our childlike curiosity coming alive, front and center now, out of all the blankets and covers and dust, we're pulling all that off and cleaning off the childlike curiosity, putting it front and center. So now we're starting to probe, like many of us are saying, I've decided that I'm not going to go into the allopathic system anymore. I'm going to learn about my body. I'm going to learn about how it functions and the best things for my body to put into it and on top of it to help it. Doesn't that make a lot of sense? So then what happens? We become teachers more so and recognize the fact that across the board, every one of us, every single moment, are teaching and learning. All of us. Doesn't matter who you meet. It really doesn't. What their position in life is, what they've done. What matters is that they're in your life for a reason, whether it's for 20 seconds or 20 years. They're in your life to teach you. And you're in their life to teach them. Because remember, we're all facets of the one, so we reflect each other. Some people you come in contact with, and I've said this before, you will, I just didn't like being around that person. Don't know him, but I don't know, I got a funny feeling. And because you saw aspects of yourself that you haven't visited. Makes sense, right? So you just say, I'm not going there. Then there's other people that you could sit, you never met them before, you sit down with them, you want to talk with them for hours. And then you go, holy cow, you started at noon and it's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You go, geez, I got to go, I could sit and talk with you forever. Because these are aspects that we like about ourselves that we gravitate towards. You see other ones that we don't care to visit much. And this is when people rub us the wrong way, come into our lives, and we have situations and interactions. And then this is all about, we created all this to experience and learn. So then we start understanding and comprehending that we go within the body and we embrace those things that we dislike in others. And then we find out what they're there for, why are they there, and things begin to dissolve. And a lot of us are starting to literally wanting to face that, to face our fears, to embrace our fears, instead of running from them. Because the only thing physically, right, we are completely protected. We have no enemies. But inadvertently we create those enemies. We create them. And slowly but surely we're starting to realize that. For instance, would there be wars? Right? Would there be wars? Would there be hatred? Would there be vengefulness, deceit, deception, manipulation, greed, want for power and control? Would that exist? Now, those are all wonderful things from the flip side because we've experienced them. Okay? When one generation experiences things, does that go away? No. It's translated to us. Now, we may experience in different ways than they did, but all that's kind of moves around within us. Because remember, we're connected. This is why you'll see a lot of repeat, generation after generation, certain things. Not everything, but there are certain key things that are repeated generation after generation. So this is a massive, massive, massive spiritual evolution for humanity, for mankind, for this species, however you want to label it. And you got 8.5 billion gods, pure consciousness, that are in physical material form that they created to experience physical material life. And what is life? God, pure consciousness. So you start to see, it's like focusing. If you're using a camera and it's manual and you have to focus it, or binoculars or a telescope, and you focus it, everything's blurry. You can see images, but you can't make them out. And so you start with yourself, you start to focus the picture. And then it becomes completely clear. Then you're starting to see things you didn't see before that were just like blurred colored spots. And then you start seeing the detail and things that you didn't notice ever before. So it all becomes crystal clear. And now you've got this picture, moving picture, that you're going, wow, look at this here. I never noticed that. Or look at this over here. And this is what we're experiencing. And it's absolutely magna glorious that we have arranged for all of us to be here at this moment to experience a massive evolutionary step for this civilization into spiritual existence. Now, we do exist spiritually, but in ignorance. So we're making a transition from ego mind to heart mind, where eventually that's where we will always be, in heart mind. As soon as you even acknowledge the fact of heart-mindedness, that's half of it. Literally, you have stepped halfway there. Just by acknowledging that and understanding, at least in the beginning, about what is heart-mindedness to me. What does it mean to me? Now, we're all rushed on purpose. We're all hurried while we're in these bodies. These bodies are hurried and rushed and pressured and directed. And all of this falsification, right? And all these fabricated thoughts, which aren't ours, bombards us. And it keeps us distracted from who and what we are. And eon after eon, and millennium after millennium, and eon after eon, this is what we've been doing. And now that's shifting. It has shifted. And so it's a cascading effect. And it's literally saturating, permeating, and flooding everyone on this planet. Now, that doesn't mean that everyone knows that or comprehends it. That's okay. But some are. And they're not doing it from fear. They're doing it through childlike curiosity. They're saying, wow, this is a whole different experience. Yeah, maybe I touched on it through this life, off and on briefly, but now this is something else. And it's a whole new earth. It's a whole new world. And this is why I talk a lot about surrender and letting go. It's like you do it throughout the day because this ego mind stuff comes in, and that's the opposite. That's, gripping and holding and coveting, and which overloads us. Okay, but you just constantly surrender, and you get over that curve of the insecurity of the ego mind saying, and you get that feeling, you get that uneasiness when you say, I surrender this, or I surrender my life, or I let go of everything. And you do it genuinely, and you just let it go to the universe. When you can do that without second thought, without then doubting, when you can actually let that go, that means that you have 100% trust in yourself, faith and confidence in yourself and the universe. You have no doubt. Doubt has been extinguished. And the more you move into that, knowingly you choose to move into it, the more this whole new horizon opens up for you. And then it connects. It's a primer. It opens up everything else. It's like that one last puzzle. If you've ever done tabletop puzzles, right? That one last piece and snapping it into place and then seeing the whole picture come alive. Quite an experience for any of us. And this is what we're in right now. Those that are asleep now, they don't correlate that. They have a direction, just like at one time we did. And no matter what anybody says outside of them, it's horse blinders. We know what those are, right? They're put on a horse's head so it's not distracted or bucks or gets anxious or upset. So it keeps its focus center straight. No distractions. And it's kind of like the majority, about 70% population of the planet, has horse blinders on. You can make that picture. You got a buggy and you got a horse, and the horse has horse blinders. That's why. Because it doesn't have any distractions. And it's focused on what? The programming. The programming. Just moving forward. Now, the horse blinders for the civilization are different because every now and then they open up and then all these distractions come in. And so you're on that path and then you walk away and you go off. Yeah, it's just like you're on a highway and you say, you know what? This is boring. I'm going to take a side road, right? And maybe hit a little small town and walk around there and do this and do that. And then you go, get back on the main drag because, I've got a ways to go. And that's how we are. We're all on the same path. Now, a lot of people believe that they've messed up things and their life is in shambles, and it isn't. It's experience. It's experience that they need. And the experience, as we all know, isn't always milk and honey. We have to create things, and we do, that are the opposite of wonderfulness. Because we always have to, the only way we learn is from comparison. So we're over here in the muck, and then we're over here in the sunlight. And we know the difference. And then we get to the point, okay, so what direction do I go in? I want to be over here. We've all experienced loss, right? Body damage. Many different emotional experiences. And obviously when we enter the baby body, none of that's there. You know why? Because we're in the now. When you go into a baby body, you are always in the now. You have no ego. You have no fear. You have no stress. You have no anxiety. You have no frustration. It doesn't exist. That's why when we look into the baby's eyes and you see that light where that little black hole is, and it isn't the reflection from the lights around it, you're looking at a part of yourself that's been totally unviolated. And that's why so many of us, when we look in like a baby's eyes, and you see that glow and that spark and that joy and that bliss in their faces, that's how we all are eternally within these bodies. And we're moving in to discover them by choice. Not any other way. Not by manipulation, not by trickery, but we are deciding. That's why this planet is going through a metamorphosis. And of course, we also, some of us know that what is occurring must occur because it's part of our experience through the transition. If everything was a cakewalk, we all know this, many of us know this, what would we learn? We wouldn't. We would become so bored, we'd end up like slugs in the mud. So we create this. All of this theater has been created collectively and cumulatively by the collective consciousness, which we are part of. And that's what this transition is about, because we're learning immensely now. Those that are aware are learning immensely. Not destructively, not upsettedly, but lovingly. And we're transforming every single second. The more aware you are of your body, the more you will comprehend the transition. But those of us that are aware to a certain point in this very now moment, know that to be true within our hearts. We know it. Yeah, we get a little apprehensive, we get a little hurried at times. You know, I've heard from dozens of people that let's move this on. You know, let's quit this nonsense and move it on. Let's get going forward. Let's move into New Earth. Let's get the technologies out. You know, a lot of us are responsible beings at the stage we're at in our development, and things will be fine. All right? Let's get through this. And not that we want to rush it or ignore it. We're experiencing it right now. But let's get through it and comprehend it. And the reason it's there, which is crucial for this civilization, knowing that we created it so that we have a comparison. That might sound silly to some people, but that's why we're doing it. The end of evil and darkness on the planet. The walk into the light. And the difference between the two. I'll join you in a meditation. I'll return to close this out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still, relaxed into the body, focused on your breath, rising and falling. Drop everything in your mind. It's time to let go of the tyranny of your mind. Drop all your ideas about who you are. Let go of your fears and any worries about your future. Let go of your life, your things, your body, and then your mind. Free yourself completely of everything until there is no thing left. Release your attachments of how your others should be. Stop holding on to all of your beliefs about the way life should be for you to be happy or free. Just sit still and rest deeply in this stillness and enjoy being free from this crazy mind. Do not stop letting go of your thoughts until there is a deep peace in every direction you look. Who knew enlightenment could be so easy? Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night and the following morning. We will return here Wednesday, August 14, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call, and a little after 9:15 p.m. to continue our Time for Change call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest. Eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's happening outside of you or inside of you. Open your heart and allow the magic to flow in.